All right, so we're back here on another Couch Coach Live. Couch Coaches, we are back. What's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? How you
Nothing
doing?
much, man. I'm good, man. How was your week?
It was pretty good, man. A lot of
Man, that's
changes
what's
as
up.
usual. You know,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
was yours?
Everything good, man. Just chilling. Good week. Just working, podcasting, and then
Yeah, I watched last night.
yeah. How you like that one? Yeah,
It was good. It was good. It was honest.
yeah,
It was real honest. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude said, I'm an NBA guy, but I was talking football.
yeah.
I think I did well. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Steven's good, man. Steven's even he I know he's an NBA guy, but he knows he's talking about, especially
Hmm.
with NFL because we did an NFL preview, and he was putting
Hmm.
up stuff. He had a lot of
Hmm.
strong opinions about who he had in the division. He had some I would call unpopular picks amongst all of us, but he backed it up and said, "Hey, I think it was like Indiana, the Colts. He had the Colts win division, and he put up some strong points. He almost had me a believer with the Colts." But yeah, he
Hmm.
always, and then especially with the NBA, he's great with the NBA. He breaks it down. Matter of fact, I did a podcast with him like 3 weeks ago on his podcast. And I mean, he was showing me all these advanced stats. I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, and then it's just amazing how it's like literally it's breaking the game. And he's literally breaking the game with stats. And you're like, it's like, wow, like it's funny, like you look at like the stat sheet, like when guys at the press conference they look at the stat sheets and they look like surprised, like it looked
Hmm.
alarming. A lot of those
Hmm.
stats are really alarming, and like how he breaks it down, it's almost like it's like a sweet science, and how we call
Hmm.
it like the winning points, like as far as winning on certain types of certain types of stats. So yeah, it
Hmm.
was good, and then like you said, even talking NFL, I mean it was great. I mean,
Okay.
he's sports and
What's his
what
favorite?
have
Who's
you.
his favorite NFL team?
The Rams, the LA Rams,
Wow.
Jared
Mm.
Goff and them boys. But
Right.
yeah, man. But yeah, it's a good week. And then I'm gonna have to put your boy in check this week, Lamar.
Right.
Bam. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
put him. I'm gonna have to pop him upside his head.
Seriously, man. It's like he really don't realize that his quarterback is Baker Mayfield.
We gonna
Like,
figure it
I
out.
keep trying to tell him that. He
And
hasn't
yeah,
gotten there.
man. And then
Right.
obviously Washington plays Cleveland this week, so we've been going at it all week, and he keep on like, hey, I'm not going
For
to be able
real.
to stop Nick Chubb, and I'm like, wait till Sunday at 1 o'clock before we do all this. And he talk about something. I'm gonna call you at halftime. I'm gonna ignore you at halftime. I'm gonna hit the decline button.
Right. Okay.
But yeah,
And I
man.
might
But
need
yeah,
to. I don't think he understand how the Washington football team fans are. See, they think just because y'all smile and y'all are some of the worst fans ever.
oh yeah,
Man, my little brother's father was a
uh
previous named of the team
yeah,
fan, and I had never seen anything like that. And this was the year y'all won a Super Bowl. I think I had Mark Rippon.
yeah. Last one. Yep,
Oh,
yep.
he was showing it, man. Let
Oh
me tell
yeah,
you, he
why
was the
not?
loudest one, and I don't think he
Yeah,
understands how that $1 million smile you got is really you smiling
yeah,
like, boy, I
yeah.
kill you. I kill you in your sleep. You little do you know? You know what
And,
I
and
mean?
you think about it
You know?
now, looking at it, 28 years later, like shoot, like we should. He was there. He was right because shoot, to savor that victory, because we'll never
Right.
see that again potentially. I mean, the way things going, and I mean, there's gonna be more than a name change before we do something big time. Man. Somebody gonna have to leave, and some there's gonna have to be an exorcism at this point. Some things gonna have to be right. some you know
I,
some wrongs have to be right before we
right.
before we get back into
I
good
just think
graces.
I think y'all gonna be okay, man. Y'all division. I mean, we'll talk about it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we'll talk about it. But yeah, Lamar needs to
So
calm down. You won one game, and you won one game. Just talk trash when you get through October, because Baker has horrible Octobers, and Lamar's probably like, I hate when he says that. you know,
but
you know,
yeah, so that's gonna be an interesting game. Just sucks that
right,
not gonna be able to go to Cleveland and catch the game and
right.
and go
You
to
know what?
our mhm.
Baker Mayfield is the modern day Romo. You
Hmm.
know that?
Mm.
That's really interesting. It just hit me like, you know what?
Yeah.
He is the modern day Romo. That's who he really reminds me of. So let that sizzle in your
Basically.
spirit, bear.
But hey,
Like, you know
shoot.
what I mean?
I know one thing. I know he wish he had some fourth quarter comebacks like Romo has. But shoot. But
Woo!
it's a but I hey. But but that's one thing too where and I think we're probably gonna do a podcast to preview the game. We'll see. We'll see how all the schedules align, whatever. But yeah, so before we know we talked a little NFL, so let's get a little bit into the NBA where we had some somewhat semi-breaking news. Right, maybe 2 hours before we went on air today, where Billy Donovan was named the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, and it's funny because 2 weeks ago we announced the breaking news story of him being fired from OKC. We got the Woj bomb on here,
Mm-hmm.
here on Couch Coach Live, which was fascinating. Getting a breaking news story, especially like that, it was cool. So your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
on Billy Donovan going to Chicago?
Hey man, I'm not a Bulls fan. So
Mm-hmm.
like to me, you my partner in crime. So I'm
Yeah,
happy that if you're happy of
yeah,
of, of the move of Billy Donovan coming in, to be honest with you. My only thing is I just hope that, which I think he will, because to me I always remember him. Remember when wasn't he supposed to be the head coach of Orlando Magic at one time and he pulled
yeah,
out?
yeah.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping that Billy Donovan don't come and you have the Billy Donovan in OKC. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I hated that OKC got rid of him. I thought they did it very well and they overachieved for what they had. So I hope
yeah,
he brings that magic to the Bulls.
yeah. And that's one thing too. Like I'm just glad that, and it's funny to think like because at first the focus was really like Kenny Atkinson, those type of coaches. But then when you seen Billy Donovan, you're like, hold up, like this man finished third in NBA of Coach of the Year. And like we
Hmm.
said, and we literally looked at this OKC team, was like, okay, well, I thought like, okay, well, Chris Paul probably get bought out and go to Miami. Like that was my first inkling,
Hmm.
like in the preseason, was like, okay, he's gonna be he's gonna be on the as far as with that is concerned. But I like it.
Hmm.
I like the fact that he goes to this team. This is a young, solid team where they're gonna actually respect their head coach. I could see the potential in guys like Kobe White. I could see him getting better. Even Zach LaVine at what 20, what 20, he probably only like 25 years old, which is really strange to think. Like man, he's only 25. So
Hmm.
him, then Laurie Marketing, Wendell Carter, other guys. I mean, just a lot of these guys. I think that's going to gravitate to Billy Donovan, and this could be a team that could be, that can make some noise in the Eastern Conference, and then even potentially we could be a huge player in the 2021 free agency potentially with just having a guy like a Billy Donovan who, in
Right.
essence, kind of command that respect. So now Chicago looks at least attractive from a bird's eye view. They look very attractive to a point where could a potential free agent land there or what have you, or or
Hmm.
what's the next direction going forward with this team. So I'm excited.
Well, there's been whispers, but AD might come. Been whispers.
Yeah, hey, I'll take his 34 points per game in the Western Conference Finals any day of the week at this point.
uh, um, would y'all, if you get a chance to get Chris Paul, would you take him?
At this point, no. The price tag for him, like, I don't understand, like, because if we were like Milwaukee, where we were like title or bust, I would take him because at least I know with him, okay, he can go all out.
Okay.
Like versus us, a team that could be on a cusp of a playoff team, I
Hmm.
wouldn't take. I mean, he'd be a great locker room guy. I mean, per se, for certain people. I don't want to say all. I want to say that for everybody, but I think he would fit better in a situation where he's like at least a team that it has at least championship aspirations more so than just like a playoff trying to try to get into the playoffs. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't take that's too much of financial risk. And then for him
So,
he'll be 36 in May and it's making him like no.
so
I
basically, you
mean,
saying it's not you're saying your mindset is you want to build your team up for the future. You're not looking at a championship right now, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
You
I mean
want
at this point,
success. Let's just
yeah,
get to the playoffs. I got
I
you.
almost kind of want what OKC did, where as ironic as it sounds, I kind of want what OKC like a team to kind of overachieve because we didn't think OKC was going to make the playoffs with that roster. We figured they
Mm-hmm.
were going to do a rebuild earlier than they do now. Of course, they're doing the rebuild now, but we
Mm-hmm.
figured that was going to be in season, and they were in a essentially overachieved. And then you think about Billy Donovan because you think about it when he first started at OKC, he had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and to think he lost both of them and still made the playoffs. The year,
Mm-hmm.
he after KD and then the year after Russ. So
And he
to
has
me, mhm.
a team on the West. And he got a team in the West, and that's supposed to be really hard to make it in the playoffs in the West.
Yeah, because right, because and that's funny because we talked about this, during the bubble where you're like, we can make a legitimate case for 15 teams making the playoffs in the Western Conference, and it's only 8 spots, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy. And like you said, and
Mm-hmm.
even with that as well, and then the East will be a whole lot easier. I mean, even though you got Brooklyn coming up, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you still got you think to yourself, okay, if you're in that slot, well, Brooklyn's gonna go up. Are you just as good as Orlando? Are you just as good as like Philly? Like you're in that, you're looking at that 7, 8 slot. Are you, can you compete with that? And or even
Mm-hmm.
higher. So I look at
Mm-hmm.
this team where it has a potential, an extreme potential to make the playoffs and overachieve and actually, and the team has talent, and that's a good thing. And that's the beauty of it all too. They got kind of like the perfect storm. They got the youth, and and those guys are pretty good. So to me,
Yeah, and
I
they
think
play
it's gonna be
hard.
a yeah. And they play
They play
hard, and
hard.
then
They play hard.
matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, I'm not gonna bite, but Nick Friedel, and he said something best like maybe they should bring back Joe Kim. I was like, oh, let's bring back Joe Kim. Let's bring him as just as our glue guy, our leadership guy. Bring him back
Yeah,
because
I was going to say that, and I was because I
yeah,
was just thinking. I said, man, he never played with Billy Donovan, and I would thought that they would have found
hmm
their way to come back together, and
yeah,
especially after this bubble and the
yeah,
situation he was in,
yeah,
I think that he would make that because I always felt like Joe Kim is a loyal
hmm
and he wants you to play hard. You know what I
yeah,
mean, and put the team first. And I think if he brings that with Billy, I think that would be great. I think
yeah.
that would
Because
be great.
don't bring Al Horford. He costs too much.
I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think Harris or Horford going anywhere. I think they're going to be there
Hey,
because
gonna
I
be
think it's going to
solid.
fit it's going to fit Mike D'Antoni's system.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's what I
man.
think.
So yeah. So let's talk a little NFL.
All right.
So let's do our week 2 recap. Another good win for you guys in Pittsburgh. Good win last week
Yeah.
against Denver.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
then my boys succumbed to the Kyler Murray effect in Arizona, and now we're one and
Yeah.
one. So man, it's a great week. So week 2, who was your head scratcher?
I had a few. I believe in your team, man. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Like
Yeah,
I believe in your team, and they played the Cardinals is good. You know, we probably
yeah,
didn't think they were that good. So to me, they just played one of those teams that we need to start respecting and say, hey, this team
yeah,
really might be one of those teams that
yeah,
we need to be paying attention to. So, but I thought that they would fight a little bit better. I was a little disappointed about that.
yeah.
So that was my head scratcher. I got a few, man. I got the Jets.
Mhm.
Like I think the Jets should be better. Jets should be better. I don't even want to give any information about it. I just think they need to go ahead and let that coach go. And it seemed like they
I'll
really not
explain.
trying to. Yeah,
I'll
it's time to this
explain.
time. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, with that
Yeah,
one.
it's time to let him
But
go. Um, the Giants, um, once I really watched the game, I
mhm,
think they were coming, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's just, and you know
mm,
what's funny? They're in your division, and no disrespect to your division, I think that they can turn it around and still win, to be
yeah,
honest with you. You know what I mean? So it's such a toss up. The Vikings, They should have let some. They shouldn't have let a few people go. I feel bad. Cousins is used to it though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He said, "Hey, I'm gonna get paid. I'm used to. I'm gonna play hard, get paid."
yeah,
Um, and I was gonna say Miami, but they gonna get there. They fought hard, but the
yeah.
Lions, why you keep lying to me? Like, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
man.
Like,
They.
when is they gonna get rid of this coach? Like, they fired the coach before. I don't know the names, but they fired the coach
Oh
before this
yeah,
gentleman that they got,
yeah,
and he had a better record than this dude. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So when is we gonna start?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because as you were saying, Jim Caldwell, which was what he was 9-7 and got fired, and they brought in Matt Patricia, and he's has been
Horrible.
horrible. And then the Lions once again blowing a double-digit lead again, and they've done this twice. I mean, they let my nephew get off one, Joe Montana Trubisky, and then Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers went off. So
Aaron
it's just
Rodgers
getting
is
to a
beast.
point. Yeah,
And
Aaron
I think
Rodgers. Yeah.
I picked a lot of those teams because to me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like they've had the same quarterback for a while now, and I'm just saying the Lions should be better than what they are. You've been there for
Yeah.
a minute, paid the quarterback, did this and that. You had this coach for so long. You supposed to be competing
Yeah.
better than what you are. I mean, give us a break. You know what I mean? And it
And
just seemed
eh,
like
yeah, and what was funny because I always thought Detroit was going to be somewhat sneaky because the
me
fact
too.
that I figured like with if Stafford was healthy the whole entire year because I think he
Right.
missed what like 8-9 games last year, so I figured
Hmm.
if he was to stay healthy, that they at least at this point at least be like 1-1, which they should have been one and
Hmm.
one if Swift didn't miss that pass in the end zone. But then here's no there, but that added to the lithicon of Mitchell Trubisky. So that's all I worry about at this point.
So
And so and
and
yeah, mhm.
go ahead. And I had told you I had a couple questions. Like I watched
Yeah,
the Seahawks and the Patriots
oh
game,
yeah, hmm,
and as I'm watching, one thing I Cam I think could be a beast, but I just feel like sometimes he just so conservative and he plays so disciplined, and it's
yeah,
almost like he's trying to again. It's like the Super Bowl. He's
hmm,
playing. It seemed like he's
not to
playing
lose.
safe, and
Yep.
he's playing. I'm just going to do to make these people happy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When I know for when you can look at him and be like, man, you can take this game over you want to. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so do you think he's slower now or he's just playing discipline?
I
Or
think
he's
this is
just
more
being
so
disciplined?
discipline. I think now you're looking at the New England situation and then with Josh
Right.
McDaniels, where I think we're so caught up in it. Like we figured like we thought we were gonna see more Cam Newton, but it's I mean, to me, I just think it's the system. I just think like McDaniels is just, still trying to in essence trying to experiment with him. And obviously they're not doing what Seattle's doing with let Russ cook, because obviously Russ cooked. So, I mean, it's just it's just one of the things where I think they'll be okay going forward. But it's just and it's like the second go round with them. So I mean, it's the second game.
Hmm.
So I mean, a
Right.
part of me is like I still think
I
because
do
it kind
too.
of did remind me. Yeah, it did remind me like we were talking about when we were talking about the Super Bowl, where kind of how he
Right.
played in the Super Bowl, kind of
Yeah.
almost conservative, but
Right.
I don't, and
Right.
that's what's going to be interesting about them and that dynamic because Josh McDaniels gonna have so many different dimensions for Cam Newton. So, I
Right. I
mean,
hope so.
I think so. But yeah, I think my biggest head scratch has got to be the Jets. Like, okay, like I talked about this yesterday. You can San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in that game. Whatever. They lost a running back, they wide receiver. George Kittle didn't play. You lose Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas. They lost a cornerback in that game and two centers. Two centers.
Right.
And the Jets still lost by 18 points. Could you imagine an NFL team losing all of that and they won 18 game and they won by 18 points? You would literally say that other team they beat was horrible. And it's so bad because we're in a week where the Atlanta Falcons blew another lead. This might be just as bad as the one in the Super Bowl. We got a team that let Dallas beat them by 1 point. They scored 39 points, had 0 turnovers, and still lost the game. They had an onside kick that just like, hey, Dallas, y'all want it, y'all can have it.
Right.
But
6 players.
Right. But in a week where the Jets lose to a team that pretty much was decimated by injuries, that just shows you how bad this week was. If we not even really talking about Atlanta blowing a lead like this, we're sitting here talking about the Jets losing to a San Francisco 49 teams who lost 2 centers, a running back, a wide receiver, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, all in one game. Jordan Reed had 2 touchdowns on this team. Jordan Reed. That's all you had to say. Jordan Reed, who ain't played in a long time. He had 2 touchdowns. That's all you got to say. And like we said, the Jets, and I feel bad because I'm never gonna pick them again for the rest of the year. I picked them beating San Francisco because I figured it was gonna be like, and it was crazy because in the beginning I was like, okay, these injuries start happening in the beginning, and I was like, especially like the Nick Bosa injury happened really early, and that was another weird. Once I talk about the takeaways, that was a weird like from 2:15 time period. It was crazy, but I talk about that in the takeaways, but. That's it's when you sit down and you think about it, that's crazy to think like that they lost like they did. Like it's just crazy. And it's just like I put my hands up. I'm not gonna pick the Jets no more the rest of this year.
Whose fault do you think it is? You think it's the GM or the coach?
I mean, it ain't the GM. I think the GM, he just got down. I mean, even though I hate saying this because I don't want my bias to show. Because of course, Joe Douglas is from Mechanicsville, so it's Adam Gates' fault. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I just want to preface it because I don't want people to be like, well, you talk about Joe Douglas. He went to LD. He went to he lived in, he's from Mechanicsville. So I don't want nobody to say, oh yeah, you're biased. But it's what the thing is.
It's okay to be biased. It's okay.
Once Joe Douglas gets his guys in, then that's when we can put the blame on him. Because I think he did a great draft. Like, pardon my bias, Mekhi Becton, like it was one play where he was destroying Joey Bosa. And I'm like, keep him. This is who you build around at this point. Everybody else
haven't had him yet, B? Tell me, please tell me.
I don't know.
You think he got some stuff? I don't understand. Like,
no, I think he's just he's gonna be gone. I know, like we talked about it yesterday, where he's gonna be gone. I think when you look at Black Monday on January 4th, 2021, he'll be the first ones to be, to let go. Even if potentially they might let him go in season, which it could potentially happen. I mean, that happens. I mean, trust me, that happens.
You don't think there's any way that they'll fire him before the end of this month?
I mean, because I gotta look at their schedule because you gotta think about it. If they're still, if they still not undefeated, but they like 0-5, 0-6, yeah, because at least at this point you're like, okay, well, especially if this team, I'm gonna actually look at the Jet schedule momentarily. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull that up because if I look at the Jet schedule, because if the Jets, what are they now? So let me look at their schedule, and I'm gonna take a look at and see if their bye week and how that goes. But I honestly think if they fall to a point where, all right, let's see. Let me look at their schedule. Okay. So they got Indianapolis next. Phillip Rivers gonna probably throw the ball like 80 times. if they lose to Blake Bortles and the Denver Broncos, and they got a bad week, okay. So they play. Damn, they got a bad schedule. So they play Phillip Rivers in Indianapolis, and then they have a Thursday night date with Blake Bortles or or Jeff Driscoll in the Denver Broncos. If they fall 0-4 and they have a bad week, I would not be surprised if we sit here because it's October 1st on Thursday. If we sit here and we do the show on October the 6th on that Tuesday, Gates might be out because at least at that point they have a bad week. So after that Denver game, October 1st, they got a bad week. That's probably the best time to pull the trigger because Lord knows if you lose Denver on Thursday Night Football at home, even though it don't matter at this point. But if you lose to a Jeff Driscoll or a Blake Bortles and the Denver Broncos.
Hey. First off, we almost lost that game. That Broncos quarterback was doing good. All right. He was the and then we lost to Blake Bortles too. So stop.
Man, we beat Jeff Driscoll last year. That Sunday before Thanksgiving. We beat him. So we were trash last year. So I can admit that.
Well, I think Jets fans, if you're watching this wonderful podcast, please pick it, get T-shirts, hashtag, get rid of that dude because the players do not want to play for him. I'm telling you, you know what I mean? That's why people trying to leave. They don't want to play for him.
And look what Jamal Adams is doing in Seattle. Like, just let you know, like, how crazy it is. And then, you're right. So, you're part of you, like, It's
and they didn't get anything for him, right? They didn't get anything for him, really, did they?
Well, not really. They got their safety, I think, of a couple of first round. Not first round. They got 2 first round picks, which that could help. I mean, and then the thing about it, it sucks because Seattle's probably going to you'll be drafted in the high 20s, which, you'll probably drafted in the high 20s. Hell, might be 30 or above. So, I mean, it's good to have those first round picks, so you still can get some good, some good players at that spot, but not like you could if you was and they were like, top 10, top 15, top 20 picks versus now. Seattle, the way Seattle playing, that 2021 might look like the 29th, 30th, 31st, the way Seattle playing. So who's to say? But but the Jets, man, like I said, we keep on putting these places for Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence might go to New York at this point.
I heard that.
He might be the next quarterback for the New York Football Jets, and
not with that.
Hey, but at least he get but he got that big high Becton though, so he's gonna be all right.
One more head scratcher question. Right, you can be biased, man. I love that. Let's get a love to the local people. Do you think that the Saints should have kept? This was my head scratcher after seeing the Saints lose, right? And I remember last year when Breeze got hurt.
Yeah,
and I got a guy, one of my friends. He's from New Orleans, so he's a big Saints fan, and he always putting his emotions on Facebook. And I remember when Bridgewater took over, and he was just saying, "Why would y'all put so much pressure on him?" But what was Bridgewater doing? He was winning. Yeah. You know what I mean? And my question to you: do you think the Saints should have tried to keep him?
Not really, because I think now with you getting a guy like a Jameis Winston.
Yeah. Okay.
I think like if Taysom Hill was like that back, which I don't know what they classify him at this point because they claim he's a backup and all kind of BS. But I think Jameis Winston, if in a pinch, can help. And then we gotta really sit down and think about it. Drew Brees is like 41, 42. And I mean, he's still doing his thing. I mean, even though they struggled a little bit, they struggled against the Raiders. But part of me was thinking it was more so the arena and just the night in itself where they just got up for that game there in their new arena. And I still think Jameis Winston's probably one of the best insurance policies that in this league, especially getting them for that for chump
Wow.
change like that. So
Wow.
I mean, who's to say? I think they'll be fine. I think it's even if something happens like to Drew Brees, I think James Winston can do it. And then now he has the coaching, even though Bruce Arians is a great coach too, but he's not Sean Payton. So
Mm-hmm.
I do like it. I do like I would be very curious to see if he does play this year. And just see how he does. I would be
Mm-hmm.
extremely curious how that would play out, but it'd be fun.
Okay. I
Yeah.
just was wondering. I watched the highlights and I seen it, Bridgewater.
Hmm.
I seen. I thought the Saints. Actually, I thought the Saints had won that game, and then I was like, then I looked. I said, "Oh no!" And then
Nah.
Breeze is getting older, so those questions coming.
Hmm.
He's like, we're just getting started, and blah blah blah, and this and that. And I was like, I don't know, just him and Ben. I mean, it's up to
Yeah.
them. Like, what I'm saying, even Ben, when I'm watching the game, if Ben plays discipline and just be Ben, we can win. But when he bees the Ben that we know sometimes, you know what I mean? That, it's not looking good. He has to be damn near perfect. But anyway, you can go
But yeah, man. So here that's gonna be interesting though, going down the line. So the head turner. Who was your head turner this week?
ahead. I was my head turner. The Cardinals and Kyle Murray still
Yeah.
balling. The Ravens and Steelers defense um,
Yeah.
really stood out to me. Dallas coming back, you know,
Yeah.
which I think Mike McCarthy kind of needed that also because if he'd went in there,
0-2.
right,
Dude.
wouldn't look good. And the Bucks look a lot more organized too. But I just
Yeah.
feel like one of the things I noticed they ran the ball a lot more. And
Hmm.
but it looked a little more, like it's funny. Like the first game really to me, it looked like a preseason game. And then this one looked more like, okay, they're
Yeah.
fine tuning things, they're getting it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they ran Fournette a little bit more. Leonard, right? Fournette, right?
Yeah. Fournette.
That's
Yeah.
his name,
Hmm.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Fournette.
ran him
Yeah.
more. Yeah, they ran him a lot more. He got over 100 yards. You know what I mean? And as of right now, if you look at the stats, it's not too many running backs getting 100 yards. You know what I mean? They're not running the ball that much. And yeah, that's about it. There's just like I'm really keeping my eye on this Cardinals team and see if they for real.
Yeah. I think they are. And what's crazy about with Arizona? It feel like it's gonna be a 3-team race in the AFC in the NFC West. Because I think San Francisco, those injuries. I mean, even though they ain't playing the Jets every week, so
Hmm.
they're gonna kind of fall off now. I think you lose a guy like a Nick Bosa. I think you don't. He's a guy that you essentially, and then you lose Solomon Thomas as well. I mean, I understand they have
Hmm.
depth on that line, but that's gonna be
Hmm.
so hard to overcome. And then
Hmm.
just their whole situation with their wide receiver situations, all that. But I look at Arizona. Arizona's just the thing with them. They're like they're gonna sneak up on it. Well, they ain't gonna sneak, but it's more so. I think they're gonna make some noise in that division. Then also Seattle. I think Seattle now is gonna be the clear favorites in that division now. And then look at the Rams and think about it. These teams are 2-0. All three of those teams that I mentioned are 2-0. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting race going forward in the AFC in the NFC West. So
Hmm.
Arizona, yeah, man. Kyler Murray, dude, doing
And
something else. Do
right.
something else.
The only problem with teams like that, and you have a quarterback like that, is like if he get hurt,
It's a wrap.
please just yeah. And that's why I be saying it bothers me about these teams. I was like, you have or organic type of player that's special, right?
Yeah,
So that's in this system.
yeah.
So if
Hmm.
he can do all this and he's special, but if something happens, he gets
It's
hurt.
a wrap.
Please have a plan B so y'all can keep
Right.
winning. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing that bothers me sometimes dealing with
And
the NFL team.
but the crazy thing about it is with Kyler Murray, there ain't no plan B. Ain't nobody like him.
Right, right, and that's really
That's
what I'm saying.
yeah. That's gonna be interesting. And then and now the first thing I thought about it was like if after that game, the first thing I thought about was like, damn, we got Baltimore in 2 weeks. Forget Cleveland.
Mhm.
I mean, even though no
Mhm.
offense, but
Yeah, yeah, you can,
I'm
yeah,
like,
because you're
damn.
focusing on the real Cleveland team. That's all.
And it's and I'm like, wow, like and it's funny because you see it now being an opponent of it, where you more do like more dissecting, and you're like,
Hmm.
God, like then we're like, damn, we gotta play Lamar Jackson in 2 weeks. Like that's the first thing I thought about immediately after this game. Like
Hmm.
Cleveland was on my mind for a second, but I'm like, damn, then we gotta go home.
So,
Then after we go home, I mean, then
mhm.
after going to Cleveland, then we go home and play Baltimore. I'm like, ugh.
So look, I just brung up Kyle Murray and the Cardinals, right? So
Mm-hmm.
automatically, I said, damn, we done been on this show and we have not said anything about the Texans, right? So
Yeah.
Hopkins went to the Cardinals, right? And then when you go
Mm-hmm.
back and I'm looking at the Texans and I'm like, they look like they still stuck at a certain level and they haven't even over jumped it. I
Yeah.
thought they did, but I think giving up Hopkins
Yeah.
have brung them back down. Like,
And he
didn't they
looked,
only score like
yeah.
16 points?
Yeah, that Ravens defense shut them down. The part of
Right.
me is weird with the Texans though. Like, but the Texans are kind of who we thought they were. Like, cause to me, I look
Right.
at that team. Well, okay, they played Kansas City, then they played Baltimore, and we know like essentially those are like 1-2 in the AFC. Essentially, when we look at it from a talent
Mhm.
standpoint, and Cleveland, not Cleveland, but Houston is like that second tier type of team in that divisions. I mean, in that conference in the AFC. So a part of me is just like, I mean, Houston, and then you lose, especially a guy like like DeAndre Hopkins who killed us the other night. But he didn't kill us. But I mean, he did he did a great job though. I ain't gonna oversell it.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, you lose especially a guy like him and DeAndre Hopkins, who he just makes something out of nothing. Where the thing with him, it's just crazy, man. He does everything. He broke
Right.
D'Angelo Hall ankles in Richmond. You think I didn't forget
Yeah, I
about
remember
that?
that. You're
Yes,
right, right, right,
yes.
right, right.
And it was, oh my god, and I was there that day too when that happened.
Do you think that Watson should have signed that extension with them though? After they
Yeah,
gave up Hopkins?
I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, the way the NFL set up,
I got you.
take it while they give it to you. These NFL contracts are written on toilet paper,
Right,
so
right.
you get it how you live, and hey, maybe they can get a wide receiver. Well, they ain't gonna be able to replicate DeAndre Hopkins at this point. Maybe it's a guy in the draft even down the line during his tenure of his contract that they can
Mhm.
get. Who's to say? But I don't know. But yeah, I would have took the money. I mean, because at this point, hey, they give you the money, take it.
Right, right.
But yeah. So my head turner, Justin Herbert. And like I said on the show yesterday, I have to apologize because when we talked about him, and I talked about him in the NFL preview, which actually I do have that podcast. It's mechanically inconsistent. That's a term I use for Justin Herbert. Even though he did a bonehead play in that game against the Chiefs that one interception, but to me, I think he did a great job. Just considering the fact that he just found out minutes before the game that he was going to start. So I look at
Mhm.
that and just what he did. He 300 was it 311 yards, 22 for 33, and then in the course that one bonehead interception. But that team had a shot to win that football game, and
I
to
felt like
me,
they should have.
right, and I'm
Mhm.
encouraged going forward. Like as far as
Mhm.
you're looking at, because having an effort like that against a team that we look at as a dynastic team where they're going to be running the AFC, much less the AFC West. for
Mm-hmm.
years to come. And then you got this budding superstar who might be the king of LA. Between him and Jared Goff, he might end up becoming the king of LA. Who's
Mm-hmm.
to say? Well, once LeBron leave, then he'll be the king of LA potentially.
Mm.
But I just it's gonna
Yeah,
be
man. It
Justin
is
Herbert.
balling.
Yeah, Justin Herbert did his thing, and poor Tyrod. And it's funny
Yeah.
because when I first heard like Justin Herbert gonna start, I was like, damn. And you know what's so crazy? Because it was like on the anniversary of when he led Virginia Tech on a comeback against Nebraska, like in
Mm-hmm.
2009 or something like that. Yeah, it was 2009, and it was like it came on the
Mm-hmm.
heels of the anniversary. That was like first thing I said when they said Tyrod had a chest injury, he's out for the game. I was like, what Tyrod gonna be at next year? Like, oh my god.
You know what's funny about that? Remember
Yeah.
we was talking about the draft and
Yeah.
what's my man
Oh,
what's the name was on the show
was it
man I'm
wrong?
tripping.
Was it wrong?
No, it was
Oh, nah,
it was
it was
I haven't heard it said his name in so long. Football dude,
who
Dallas Cowboy, big dude. Our homie, man, the third wing. They
Chip.
used to be on. Yeah,
Chip.
Chip was on there,
Oh
and
yeah, that's right.
what
Chip. Yeah, because it
and,
was
and,
McKinney. Right. Yeah, yeah.
and
Because Rome was
I
the
was like,
next week. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I said something. He was like, man, poor Tyrod. He's like,
Yeah, yeah. Poor Tyrod. I know, man. Because we know how that's gonna play out. And
he
that's the
could never
sad
get a
thing
chance.
about it. He gonna know. I mean, and that's the thing. And then even though Anthony Lynn is saying, "Hey, we're gonna keep him," he gonna be our starter going forward. We all know. At the end of the day,
Everybody looking for a damn.
Justin Herbert ain't leaving that field. Yeah, they gonna have to wheel him out before he leave that field ever again.
Mm,
He at this point what he did and that simple size that he did against the Chiefs, he deserves it at this point because
mhm.
now he's unleashed. So you have to get him prepared for this for these battles. And man, he looked great and it was fitting. It was the debut of the LA Chargers in a new stadium, and they
Mm.
have their guy. They
Right, right.
he's gonna be the Sunshine Kid. The kid from Eugene, Oregon.
Oh,
he's gonna be the king of LA. But
that's hilarious, man.
he's gonna stir the drink for the Los Angeles Chargers going forward.
And Tyrod, like it is, Tyrod is like the
Poor
Black
Tyrod.
Fitzpatrick. The Black Fitzpatrick.
Well, damn, at least with Fitzpatrick, he at least played like 4 or 5 games or more. Tyrod and like with the Cleveland situation, was it like the
Mhm.
second or third game? He get a concussion at halftime. Baker Mayfield comes on, and that's all you wrote. And like it's always like that, and that's why I felt so bad. Like I think when Buffalo, like when the thing that really messed me up about Tyrod is when they lost to Jacksonville that year. They went to the playoffs.
Mhm.
And he had like this questionable turnover, like right before the halftime. Like it was a fumble. And I was like,
Mhm.
and I kept on telling people like he was a fumble away from beating that Jacksonville team. And then
Mhm.
from there, it ain't never been right ever since. They got rid of him in Buffalo, and then they got Josh Jim Kelly
Josh
Allen
Allen.
with the cannon
Yeah.
arm from Wyoming,
Right.
the low key MVP of the season so far. The low key, he ain't the MVP, but
Right.
low key.
Low key,
But
right?
low key. So then they get him, and so then Tyrod goes to Cleveland.
Mhm.
Hugh loves him. Hugh number 5. Follow what number 5 is doing. Follow what number 5 is doing. And what they call
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, my son. Follow what number 5 is doing.
You know what's crazy about that?
Yeah.
That whole situation honestly might have messed Baker up. You know that? Where
Yeah.
maybe he should have been held back just a little bit. You know what I mean? And not have all the pressure on him and this and that. Because they count that, and I think if he don't do well
Uh,
this year,
Yeah, because I mean, he had
But
a yeah, he was on a trajectory of a Peyton Manning. He had more touchdown passes than Peyton Manning his rookie year. Like, so when you do those type of things, you are going to be held to a certain standard, and coupled
right,
with you're the number one pick in the NFL draft,
right.
and you're right, and you're going to a franchise that was that the year before was 0-16. You are the savior of this franchise.
And he had like almost $40 million guaranteed in his
Okay.
contract, like
And he's a face of
$35 million.
right, and he's a face of Progressive Insurance.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just sitting there like maybe you was supposed to chill and get everything in order and then step out. You know what I mean?
Right, but
With more
hey,
confidence, this and that. But hey, it is what it is.
it is what it is. Get your money while you can. What Marshawn Lynch said? Go and get your chickens.
I think I'm saying that because they fired two people, the offensive coordinator and the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Then a year later they fired another coach, hired another GM,
Yep, yep.
all because of this one player. To be honest with you, because of this one guy.
Oh yeah, I mean that's happens. I mean, yeah, because at this time, especially the stuff that John Dorsey did, they looked at that team and thought they were a playoff roster, and then
Right.
because at the end of the day, John Dorsey fell on the sword like, hey, well, it is, yeah, and it's more so for Beck. I mean, yeah, it was going to happen because of the simple fact of when you sit down and think about it, Joe Dorsey fell on the sword because he's like, well, I'm gonna just live and die by Freddie Kitchens, and it didn't work
Mm-hmm.
out because they figured, hey,
Right.
well, we're gonna keep it in house, and we thought that was a good move initially. In theory, it was because we want, because we always think about a rookie quarterback and it needs continuity. So why not get his
Mm-hmm.
offensive coordinator that had him to have his best, have one of the best rookie seasons in NFL history?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we thought. In theory, that made sense. But then Freddie Kitchens just wasn't ready for it. And then obviously with John Dorsey had to go because he was the one that made that move.
Right.
And
And
yeah,
that's really what I'm saying. Like Freddie Kitchens
yeah.
wasn't ready. It's like I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Baker Mayfield was ready. But it's all
Mm-hmm.
good. Decisions was made
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we will see.
Oh yeah.
We will
And
see.
and they'll take their time and we'll figure out how that goes. He have more of a his leash is a leash is I don't know. I don't know how Kevin Stefanski gonna get down with him, but yeah, I mean he got an opportunity. He just gotta take advantage of it. So
Mm-hmm.
week two, the recap. What are your takeaways of this week?
Man, so do you feel like that punting the ball, or not even punting the ball, field goal kicks are even important anymore? Because man, 19 missed field goal kicks or and failed pats.
Yeah, I mean they are crucial. You need those, but it's just
Right. And it's
I
just
mean it's just weird. I mean, especially now since they moved it to what the 35 now. I mean,
mm-hmm.
he means far. I mean, it depends where they move. So I mean, a part of me is, I mean, and it's weird because like with Tennessee, with Gronkowski missing 3 last week, and then he ended up winning the game twice again. So I mean, a part of me is like, yeah, I mean, you need it. It's definitely something that you need, and it's just I don't know. It's weird, especially those PATs. You're like, they used to be chip shots,
Man,
but now they're 35. They're 35, but
yeah.
they're 35 yard field goals now, which
Well,
you would think in theory would be like a chip shot, but it's
right.
not.
For me, I always think about my team that made me really start looking
Mm-hmm,
at football a little bit more. And that was when they got Ben. And I
mm-hmm,
like Ben, but I was like, the defense was just awesome. So my whole
yeah,
thing was, it's like Ben figured out, I don't, as long as I say discipline and manage the game
mm-hmm,
and get to a point, you know what I mean? If I can get into field, my defense can stop anybody, but if I could just get in field goal range, it's almost like a
right,
touchdown, and I can get my
right,
my field goal kicker, and you know what I mean. And I say the same thing about your team. I was like, you got this young, tall quarterback that's the potential is there. You can work with him, just keep him mature, and just
yeah,
manage the team, and then your defense just stop the guys. Then you got your field goal kicker. But it just seemed
yeah.
like to me, man. I don't know if these field goal kickers getting drinking on the side or you know what I mean, having a
I
good
don't
time.
know.
I don't know. 19 missed.
It's
field goals or PATs yesterday. That's crazy.
yeah,
And I put down
hmm
the preseason, how important the preseason is because there was a lot of injuries.
yeah,
Um, and I still think also because this is different. You know what I mean?
hmm
Like it was a if you paid attention, like there's a lot of teams that took the lead early, and then
hmm
all of a sudden the second half they started losing the lead, and I was like, you started you understand the importance of fans. You know what I
hmm
mean? And
yeah,
it's like, and I just, I said, I think they still getting used to not having fans there, and then still dealing with this corona virus and wearing masks and things of that
yeah.
nature,
It,
right?
fine,
Right. Some fines, you know what I mean? So it
and
seemed
then
like
fine.
it's still, from taking this is only game two, it's still a lot of getting used to things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but that's one of my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and what's crazy about it, because we had a 4 o'clock game, so I was able to kind of focus on the 1 o'clock games, kind of in a organic way in the sense where just watching TV and then going on my phone, and it's so crazy, like the injuries, like I want to say from about 1:30 to about like that
Hmm
2:15, 2:20 window, whatever, like the
hmm
hour window between like pretty much
hmm
the first half and second half. It's like it said like Adam Schefter was like the Grim Reaper.
Right.
Nick Bosa goes down. Saquon goes down. Like all these, Paris Campbell goes down. And like
Right.
Solomon Thomas goes down. Like it just felt like every tweet of Adam Schefter and that within that hour or so time frame on Sunday, I just felt like it was a grim reaper. Like, oh, what's next? Because I get alerts for
hmm
Adam Schefter, like as far as
Right.
when he tweets, and I like, oh boy, should I open this up? Like, because it was to a point where, and it's funny because me and Lamar was on the phone, and we were
Uh-huh.
talking about it. It's like, man, so got hurt, and it's crazy how playing it out in real time. Which I wouldn't have done that at if we played at 1 o'clock. I'd just been solely focused on my game because
hmm
that's just how I roll. But just to
hmm
see that all that stuff happening at 1 o'clock like that, and it's just like, woof. And then these just major injuries, and then like especially like the Ohio State guys, as I mentioned,
hmm
Bosa.
hmm
Who else got hurt? Joey Bosa got hurt.
hmm
Um, Paris Campbell. A lot of Ohio State guys, and it's just like, yeesh, that's just it was just really unfortunate. It was just a weird Sunday, as far as with injuries are concerned. But yeah,
hmm
man, it was a very interesting week too, and just kind of seeing it from that standpoint, just really injury. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, and like going to Elijah's point, where essentially where the shortened training camp and no preseason is causing injuries, which and it's
hmm
another thing too, where I look at that too. And people say, and I heard people always say, well, ligament injury is going to happen whenever. But I'm like, okay, the thing is, they were going to happen eventually, but okay, would you want to have it in week 2 of the season like this, where,
Right.
where you're in a situation where you can't really, in essence, prepare per se? Well, you prepared, but not as you've been
Mm-hmm.
in previous years where, and the thing about it too, where you really can't evaluate your depth like you would, as far as like you would in the preseason, because you would see
Mm-hmm.
guys play on film, you'll see actually game of them in game shape and in game footage versus
Mm-hmm.
what you can see in practice, because practice and the games are different, as far as the speed of it all, where you're not at game speed when you're playing, when you're practicing. So
Mm-hmm.
I look at it from that standpoint. Yeah, I mean, you think about
I
it, like
mean,
that's great.
it's just
Yeah.
important to the
hmm
preseason is important. The
Oh yeah.
preseason is important. You know what I mean? And
hmm
no disrespect to the NFL, I still believe that they had plenty of time to do the training camps, to do all those sort of things. They had plenty of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did it, but this
Yeah.
is one of the things where it was like kind of like a preventive measure, where it's like, okay, well, try to avoid the spread, where essentially, as far as them not, having preseason games, because they can say
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the players were like, well, let's just eliminate the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially, because that was one of the things where the traveling causes the spread, and they looked at it from that standpoint. But it's that, to me, I like the whole preseason thing. I like they still in the sense can still have it, because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, like say for instance, if it was an outbreak, you could recover from that. Versus now, what if
Mm-hmm.
you have an outbreak now and you're what week 3 in and you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like just like you seeing what's happening in college football. Like matter of fact, part of my bias, Carolina, UNC Charlotte, they had to cancel their game last week. Then now you're looking at Wake Forest and Notre Dame cancel their game for Saturday. So so that's another
Mm-hmm.
one where you're like, so you work out them kinks now. Where versus you know down the line, who's to say? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting down the line going forward. Um,
Yeah, it is.
that's what now with week 3 approaching and within the next 48 hours where we got Miami and Jacksonville slugging it out for the
Mm-hmm.
battle of Florida.
Anyway,
But yeah, man, so staying on the gridiron,
right.
Coach Deion Sanders. So it was finally announced that Deion Sanders will be coaching Jackson State University.
Right.
So, your thoughts on Deion Sanders being the head coach at Jackson State?
I listened to some of the stuff that he was saying, and it was interesting on why he made that decision. Dion is a certain type of player, and those diva players that they talk about, you know what I mean? And it's kind of great why he even made that decision. He says, he's very spiritual. I remember when he found God, and he said, and everybody kind of tried to make jokes because he was that flashy diva type of player, and he said it brung him them. But then when you really break it down, ACBUs and hope I said it right, but those colleges is having like they can't get the top people, you know what I mean, or even just get the attention because they may have some of the best players, and it's kind of great too him being there because like I think I remember his Hall of Fame speech, and he was talking about when he played AAU, and he was saying how his mother had all these different jobs and had to do all these different things, you know what I mean, and but he was playing with teammates whose parents was dentists, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature, had really really like one job, and he and those guys, they knew how good he was, so they made a way for him to go to these different places to be able to travel and this
Yep.
and that bothered him. So when you dealing with the pressure of a young man, yeah, we can say black, but a lot of athletes that want to make themselves a brand also,
Yep.
he helps with that. And as a parent, it's even great to have somebody like Dion because Dion understands I want to do things big. I want to step out. Okay, this is the new hip thing. Like I seen Deion Sanders on stage in Dallas on the 85 South show. On stage with these dudes talking about smoking weed, chicks, and blah blah blah. But he understood this is the hip thing. I used to be young at one time. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I just think that's he when it comes to football, he see the game in so many different ways. He's that one guy that had to dummy himself down when at a high school or pee wee level, where they was like, He's faster than everybody, he's bigger than everybody." You know what I mean? So
Yep.
he had to dummy himself down so they can win. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
he'll overdo everybody, and put that pressure on all these guys that's not even as good as him. So I just think that, not to over talk it, but I just felt like he's one of the best people to do that. And it's not about the money. Like you literally know it's not about the bread. You know what I mean? Because he's not broke. You know what I'm saying? He felt
Yeah.
like me taking this step is going to be more players do the same thing, and more important guys in different parts of the league in different sports that say, "Hey, I'm already paid. I just want to come here and set a standard." You know what I mean? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's
Yeah.
great.
I
You
yeah,
know?
I love it. It was. I mean, it's great. I mean, on so many different levels. I just think that as far as recruiting, I think he's gonna knock it out the
Right.
park.
Not
And
yeah.
especially and I look at it from a standpoint now as being older and at an age where I would have a child that would be going to
Right.
college. And
Right.
you think to yourself where you those you think about the embodiment of okay, when you recruit, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, will my son have a father figure? While
Right.
he's in college, and Deion is the consummate father figure. And when you look at it,
And big
and
brother
just
figure.
right,
And a big
right,
brother
and
figure. That's
right,
that, you know what I mean?
right, and so yeah, so that's another thing too, where you look at it, where for 18 to 22-year-old kids, this would he would be perfect. As far as, and we're
Hmm.
looking at it from a parent angle, you're like, I would send my kid to Jackson State versus being somewhere else,
Right.
just for the strength of Deion. And to me, I look at it like that, and especially if the kid has talent to a point where he has NFL level talent, he can go there because and think about it, and could know, but I have a Hall of Fame head coach. I have a guy that knows what it takes to make it to the NFL. So he's going to teach me how to get to the NFL.
Hmm.
You can't, those type of things you can't replicate, especially at
Hmm.
that level. And I just look at that type of standpoint where I think it's going to open the floodgates, just going forward as far as HCB, coaches, NFL guys. Like I look at a guy like even and like a guy here at Virginia State, Reggie Barlow, who played for Tampa
Hmm.
Bay, and
Hmm.
won a Super Bowl
Hmm.
with Tampa Bay once back in the
Hmm.
day, and now he's at the coach
Hmm.
at Virginia State. So I look at those, you know, that as well too. So I look at it just from the standpoint of who's going to be the next guy, and he's going to just be great. It's going to be just great for the whole overall brand. And like I never realized until, because I know Deion, he's on Good Morning America, and just how like pristine Jack State really is. And that's another thing too, where he's actually putting, like you said, putting the focus on HCBUs, because I never knew like they have these great facilities, and he said they have like a fan base of over 30,000. They pack out their arena, and that's something you really don't know, because of course, obviously, this is some fact that we don't really focus on FCS schools per se, more
Hmm.
so than now we so enamored with the Power Five, and the
Hmm.
and what have you. But I look at that as like he's inheriting a great program, and then and he even said his staff, they got 84 years of experience between coaching and playing. So
Hmm.
to me, if you're and he's going to be able to recruit D1 talent, and that's going to be the beauty thing
Hmm.
of it all, where now you look at it where the talent's going to be so spread around, especially, and then you think about it in the South like that. I mean, he could literally compete with the Nick Sabans of the world, all
Hmm.
these guys. He can really compete with those guys going forward. Like he said, he gave out offer. He was giving out offers to guys. Like he said, it ain't just like you run the mill Junko guys. But he's like, I'm giving guys who I'm trying to offer guys who are like D1 level athletes, and I know he's gonna be able to snag some of those. And then with him,
Hmm.
all that does open the doors for everybody else, whoever other coaches, to come into these programs and rebuild these programs. And to me, I see the big picture, Deion. Because to me, I look at Florida State as a potential. Because Florida State, for some odd reason, has become a revolving door ever since Jimbo Fisher left. I can really see him taking over this Jackson State team, building it to a sustainable program, to a program that damn near can run itself. And then he moves on to Florida State. And I say within the next about 5 years.
Mm.
I'm gonna
I
call it,
think
I'm
that
gonna call it like that.
you know, it's gonna be interesting, man, because you know, you gotta understand it's Deion Sanders, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like it's Deion Sanders, like arguably probably one of the greatest the greatest
Right.
football player, you know what I'm saying, or greatest athlete
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
And he's one thing about, and the cool thing about Deion is Deion's not one of those ones where you need to play the game like this or blah blah blah. No, he wants you to talk that talk. He wants you to, you know what I'm saying, to be confident about, but you got to work. You know, he wants you to do that, and I think I think that's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For him to make that decision, do that, and then he like, look, y'all getting me, so y'all know we got to do top of the line. Like I only do great
Yeah.
things. He came in with the parade and everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what I do. You know what I
Right.
mean? I do everything
And
great. You know?
right. And that's gonna up everybody's play, because at the end of the day,
Right.
you're not gonna disappoint him like that. And
Right.
you ain't gonna be on this program if you ain't doing that. If you ain't living up to that expectation.
And you know
He
what's
has
crazy
set
about
the bar.
right,
Yeah.
bar, right. And that's crazy. And why would you not want to? Because he's not gonna be that one dude to like beat you down and say, you know
Right.
who I am? I'm probably he gonna talk that, but he
Nope.
still ain't gonna be like, yo, you not
Yeah.
gonna make me look bad. No, he gonna say, man, you with me. Like he gonna motivate you, say, man, you a part of me. We together. Like that's the
Right.
difference. I don't think people necessarily really understand because some
Yeah.
people they like to do things big, but it's about them. Like you not gonna make me
Yeah.
look bad. You know what I'm saying? They
And
really lucky, bro.
right. And like and
Right.
going back to my point in the beginning where looking at it from my parents' angle where
Right.
especially with everything that's going on, just in the world where especially when you think about it when when you would send your child off to school, you're not gonna be there with that child when things arise. And to me, I look at Dion just how he could be there for these kids where not just on the gridiron, just in general and just in the game of life. If something's going on with them, they because college, I mean, these kids could be homesick, these kids could be going through some issues, things that's going on in this world now could affect them. And I can imagine like Dion, like, look, come here, let's talk, and let's just talk about life. And that's going to be the beauty thing about it. He's just going to give so much for that program and those guys. And like he said, it's not just more so just to making these guys in the NFL. I just want these guys to be professional in the game of life. So
Right.
that was another thing that really spoke volumes to me when he talked on Good Morning America today.
And
And I
I
was like,
think that's
yeah,
important. I think
it's
that's
important.
one of the most one of the most important things because these dudes they become millionaires. They doing a lot of stuff that he did, but they don't
Yeah.
understand that it wasn't. Man, he was with Michael Irving and all those Dallas Cowboys, man. So
Yeah.
ain't no telling the stuff. That's why he's never negative. Every time there's a certain athlete that's flashy and they try to make him as a diva, they try to make him this. He be the main one
Yep.
to go on TV and say and stick up for him and say, hey. And I love that about him because I'm like that's the first person I would think about. Was like, Dion, you know exactly what's going on. That was you. You know what I'm saying? With the Jerry curl, with the gold
Hmm.
and the glasses, the leather outfits looking like Eddie Murphy from Raw.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Understand all that. But
Yeah. And then another point I want to touch on is the influence that he has on other guys in the league as well. So he's
hmm
connected. And that's the beauty thing about it, where he's perfect because at the end of the day, he's an influencer. So people are gonna just want to go emulate Dion in so many different facets where guys are gonna want to be coaches. And then, like you said, and then he has this connection with NFL players. So, and that's another thing where he can develop that. And those kids, he can bring some of those guys on campus and, they're going to be around NFL elites. That's the thing about it. They're going to be
hmm
around guys. And that's what's really ultimately boils down to. You want to be around
hmm
people who are doing what you did so you can
hmm
soak up that game. He's going to get
hmm
that opportunity. And I think he's going to, and I know this is going to sound a little crazy and it's laced with hyperbole, but he's going to be like the Nick Saban of the ACBU if he stays long enough. He could
hmm
potentially be the one where he has a system that says, hey, I got so many guys going from Jackson State in the NFL. I have a pro factory, and I got a bunch of guys who just gonna come in and out, out of Jackson State and be that way. So to me,
hmm
yeah, he could be the Nick Saban of the ACBU circuit.
And I was thinking that too. I was
Yeah,
thinking that too. You
he
know.
really can be, or the Mac Brown of the ACBU world. Pardon my bias on that one, but
Do you feel
yeah.
like the Nick Sabans and those coaches is like, damn, Deion Sanders, you know what I mean? Because they might actually lose some potential. Just
Yeah,
asking.
I think there is some type of like, yeah, it's a thought process. So, yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, because at this point, yeah, I could see some guys breaking away from that because and it's just saying, especially now when you look at now how things are now, like with the transfer portal and all type of stuff, where if guys, they go on step on campus and they don't start or whatever. They ready to transfer, which I don't have a problem with that. I know that I sound like I'm against it, but I'm for it because it's just like everything in life. If the opportunity doesn't work for you, you have the liberty to leave. It's like all of us.
Mm.
It's a job that we don't like, we can leave. Same thing goes with this. You're not, you don't sign your blood to these universities. So he can get guys like that, and that's the thing. Yo, yeah. I mean, because
He's dealing with
he's yeah. This is a whole different animal because now, and then the beautiful thing about that is he can, and like I said, going back to influence with that, influence cash as well. He can bring in that cash flow where these boosters and alums. Oh, they because they gonna want a piece of this. So okay, Prime, you want a weight room, you want a juice bar, you want a barbershop, just like Alabama got. All right, we get you that. We get you that. He got that
yeah.
influence. Everybody gonna want a piece of that pie. And guess what? You have to pay for that pie.
And
So
then with society and
yeah.
the woke society and this and that happening, a
Mhm.
lot of people are like, you know what, I want to go to a predominantly, what I'm saying, black college,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
now. Like it's like the hip thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like probably what 5-6 years ago, wasn't nobody really. It's like they were losing money from what I heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, you know what I mean. If he's
Yeah.
doing that, and then a few more come out and say they do those sort of things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm gonna say this too, that I think that they should. I think a lot of these big name players, like, man, bro, let me tell you something. What if Michael Jordan said that he is going to be the coach of Howard University or some kind of crazy
It's a wrap.
Virginia Union, Virginia?
You're right. Man, they gonna be building a new shoot. Them boys, they'll be playing at the Seagull Center. They gonna be playing.
Right, right.
Man, you have to have a bigger venue than the Barco Stevens Center.
Right,
Like, yeah, if he shoot, it's a wrap. Like,
right.
oh shoot, oh come back. No, it's all no. Shoot, but yeah,
But
man.
congratulations,
Yeah, man,
congratulations, bro.
it's a great move for him, and yeah, and the sky's the limit for him.
And
So
one more
what?
thing,
Yeah,
one thing I like that he did too. Like he went
mhm,
on Good Morning America. He did something like he made it so big. Say, I'm not even just doing this for this. I'm actually
mhm,
challenging you other players that's out here
yeah,
to do the same thing. Because I was
mhm,
like, dang, he's on Good Morning America. He did this. He hit podcasts. He hit all top of the line type of stuff
mhm.
just to speak on it. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a different agenda with this. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
It's
But anyway, yeah,
awareness,
congratulations.
awareness, yep, big time. So we're even though the Lakers and the Nuggets are playing currently now, I just
Mm-mm.
want to just briefly talk about Game 2 and the Anthony Davis shot. What was your man?
Okay.
Yo, what are your thoughts on that game winning shot? AD the other night.
It was beautiful. They had me on the edge of my seat that game, but
Hmm.
I have a different take. I didn't blame Plumbing like everybody else, trying
Yeah,
to say he should have ran off the top. I thought that if Grant was paying attention and he
yeah,
switched,
switched.
like he should have switched. I said they keep saying, well, he should have went this way. No, he did what he was supposed to do. He would have if he'd have switched, they might have had to do a timeout or they could have stole the ball. To be
Oh, your
perfectly
boy
honest
would have
with you.
had it. Your boy would have had it. Your boy Braun would have had that thing.
Well, Bron, the way Bron, well, or most likely it was drew up for Bron. But he didn't
Yeah, yeah.
move. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? He
right,
didn't
right,
move.
right,
So Plummet actually basically was at the right position. All right, Grant had to do was step over. You know what I
right.
mean? And
Right,
but they want to put the blame on him, and I was just like, but yeah, it was a beautiful shot. It man, look, that whole
bro.
game, KCP was hitting shots.
Yeah,
Rondo been hitting shots. LeBron had a horrible second half, so he ain't hit nothing. But
yeah,
all these people that have been hitting their shots have started missing in the last 2 minutes. And
yeah.
AD, I think, had just missed one, and then he hit that one, and that was crazy. I think that was supposed to be the game the Nuggets was supposed to take.
Yeah, that let me know like they winning the championship. The Lakers winning. Like to me, to hit the shot and you wearing the Black Mamba jerseys and then call the game and then say Kobe, I was like, bro, this is
Mm-hmm.
some like
Yeah.
this is that was that was beautiful. Like to on some real
That's
stuff. Like
NBA playoffs, though, B. That's
that's
NBA playoffs.
yeah. But I'm
Yeah,
saying it
yeah,
just you think about it like that's gonna probably be one of the highlights of this championship team going like well, obviously, when the championship be the ultimate highlight, but that like
right,
wow, you put that on like on a highlight reel. He hits a
right.
game winning shot, and he
I,
says Kobe. I was like, bro, they
look,
winning this championship.
and then he was talking, and I was like, man, please get the mic from him. I was like, they passed me the ball, and
Yeah,
I said it. I said Kobe. They got me to make these shots so we could, so
yeah,
we could
yeah,
win a championship. And
and,
but I call him Morris Day. I call him Morris Day.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And what I found it was fun. It was cool because it's almost that moment was like it's something that we've all done in the backyard. And
Right.
so to me, that's what made it so like that's what made it like low key emotional, but it was beautiful at the same time. I was like, that's
Hmm.
crazy to think like, and that's something that we all have done.
Hmm.
Anybody that's even at this point in their 40s have done that. Like as far as
Right.
you get a shot and you like Kobe, and then
Right.
what's so crazy.
Never,
Then
I never said Kobe,
obviously,
but yeah, I never said
well,
Kobe.
yeah, I mean,
I
yeah, I
never said
mean,
Kobe.
yeah, I'm talking about yeah.
I got you. I
Well, I
got
guess
you. I
I'm
was like,
dating myself, but yeah, like as far as in in my age group, like as far as
yeah, I got you. I got you.
mid 30s, yeah. So
Uh-huh.
and then what ended up happening, the algorithm of YouTube. So then why the Chappelle show thing came on? The one that he's like Kobe.
Oh yeah,
Remember
yeah.
yes, what heck? I was like, bro, YouTube be messing with me last like couple of days. Like this algorithm is just getting out of hand. This algorithm is kind of it's a little too invasive for me.
Right.
So let's put a bow in this week's Couch Coach Live. So who gets this week's game ball?
Man. Damn, I didn't even think about it, bro. My bad. I'm gonna give it to Dion. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I'm gonna give it to Dion, man. And I think I'm gonna give it to Dion because I know it's bigger than him just making that decision. You
Right.
know what I mean? And yeah, I'm gonna give it to Dion. I'm happy for him, and they lucky. I follow him on Instagram and all that, so he's a philosopher when it comes to just being an athlete, not just
Yeah.
being a football athlete. Because he's more than that, baseball the whole nine. But I'm gonna give it to him.
Okay. Yeah. Man's got to go to the GOAT, Michael Jordan. It's funny you talked about how if Michael Jordan was a coach at Virginia Union, now he's taking over
NASCAR.
NASCAR, and now
Yeah.
and that's a big deal. Like with him having a new team,
Hmm.
he's creating a new team
And
with NASCAR,
right,
and essentially he's teaming up with Denny Hamlin, and his first drive is gonna be Bubba Wallace.
Bubba
So
Wallace. Yeah.
that's another thing too, where like we look at when we say influencers. We talked about Deion
Hmm.
as well, and then that's another one where now look at it. Look what we doing now. We talk about NASCAR. We sit here and talk about NASCAR. This is the first. This show has been around for 6 years. We've never. Well, we talked about NASCAR obviously with Bubba Wallace, but other than
Hmm.
that, we have NASCAR is not a topic on this show, and we live in the city where NASCAR is our calling card.
You
Unfortunately,
know what's crazy about that?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
My boss that owned my trucking company, he drives
Mm-hmm.
for NASCAR. He drives for
Yeah.
NASCAR. So
Mm-hmm.
I literally remember he was training me to do this route, and he was saying,
Yeah.
"You from Akron?" I said, "Yeah." You would
Yeah.
happen to know anybody? I would love to
Mm-hmm.
get in touch with LeBron. Blah blah blah. And
Yep.
I said, he said, because we got this African American driver by the name of Bubba Wallace, and he just needs some backing. And I was like, man, if you really want to get in touch with somebody, you might want to get in touch with Maverick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because Maverick might be the one to help you. But this was crazy. It
Yeah.
manifested.
I loved
It
it.
manifested.
And now,
Right.
right. And now NASCAR is going to be at the forefront now when you got a guy like a Michael
Right.
Jordan there, which, of course, he
Hmm.
just be the figurehead. But like to me, even for me, like I even follow like Joe Gibbs Racing from time to time. That I don't do it,
Hmm.
often. But, as far as I'm even intrigued with Joe Gibbs, what Joe Gibbs do with racing. Now you think about with Jordan there, and then, of course, he's going to have other drivers on that team as well. It's Bubba just the first one. But I
Hmm.
like, man, Jordan, I'm telling you, man, he's putting a stamp. I tell you, who, like I said, anytime Kenny Lattimore got 1,000,000 streams of that one song on the
Mm.
last dance, I was like, no, like the influencer of the year. It's got to be influencer of this era, quintessential influencer.
You buy his tequila yet?
No, I heard it's pretty good though. I heard it's pretty good,
And if it's
but
not, we'll have plenty to drink.
right, right. Shout out to Genie Bus on on that as well. Oh,
Mm.
Genie. But
You know.
yeah, yeah, but I just love it. I like the fact that like he's in anything that he touches, it's damn near go except for the Bobcats. But
Hmm.
I didn't say that out loud.
I mean, just him getting the Bobcats was a big thing, though.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You
big
know.
time. Yeah, I mean, and
Mm.
that's the thing too, where I think we all kind of learn a lesson from him in a sense where you see how now with him, as far as ownership, the opportunity that opens up for him, and then like how he's able to become more vocal now. I think as far as and then you see how instrumental he was during the boycott. So I look at those things
Mm.
where I think we can look at just as a culture and just as an individual where you see the power of ownership where you're able to do these type of things and you are in these type of environments and these type of circumstances when when you
Mm.
own something when you have a piece of the pie, so as theoretically. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, man, definitely shout out to the GOAT. I don't even call
To
him
the
Unc.
goat.
I can't even everybody else Unc, but he the GOAT. He the GOAT. Everybody else Unc, but he GOAT. Ain't no I can't even call that man Unc.
But
That's disrespectful.
I think I'm just happy for them, man, because they have
Yeah.
to use. It's weird. It's like they starting to understand what social media became, and now they're like,
Mhm.
okay, so this is what I need to do. I need
Yeah.
to use. Now I see why LeBron James went back to Akron. Went back to the Cavs because he was an influencer, so that brung industry back. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's what it's about. So you got to use a
Right.
celebrity and use what you have to better the
Right.
situations around it to
Right.
truly make change. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Congrats.
Yeah. And he'll be
Mm.
next. He'll be next. Like I keep telling people, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James.
No, I think it's gonna be the team that's gonna be in Vegas.
Really?
Hmm.
I don't know. That's just my premonition. I don't know for some odd reason I envisioned that one night, and I was like, I think he could be the owner of the Cavs, but that's just me thinking at this point. But yeah, man. So final thoughts before we head on out.
I don't have much, man. Just get through the week, be safe out there. They still got that Rona. That Rona starting to pop up a lot again.
Oh,
You know what I
absolutely,
mean? And
absolutely. It ain't going nowhere.
just stay safe. I see
Yeah,
you
man.
stay and I see you still staying busy. you
Yeah,
know,
got to,
you know.
gotta stay busy. Got
You know
to.
what I'm saying? Stay tuned.
You got to. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, man. Final thoughts, man. Great show tonight.
Hmm.
Definitely. Let's see how the week's gonna go. Thursday. I'll be on the All In Pod with the guys Mike and Elijah. I'll be on there. I think there's 8 o'clock Thursday. Um, me and Bear supposed to have a podcast this week. I don't know. Then also check out Overreaction
What
Monday.
day?
Huh?
What day?
We're looking at leaning towards probably Friday or Saturday. One of
Okay.
those days. Yeah.
Work Saturday. Friday, let me know.
Yeah. 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 So Friday, I think it probably be more likely Friday. Cause I think, yeah, because
Hmm.
tomorrow I'm chilling tomorrow. And then so yeah, so Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so probably end up being Friday. Friday or Saturday.
Hmm.
Whatever works for him. But it's all good though. We just had good, clean fun talking about the Browns and the Washington football team squaring off in a you know in a once in a 4 year matchup that I'm definitely looking forward to. You know, another 1 o'clock game and early start. I love those 1 o'clock starts. You get
Right.
it done with.
Hmm.
But yeah, man. So where can they find you on social media?
Man, Deshaun Morgan on Facebook, DT Morgan 78 Instagram.
Yeah. And also, don't forget to follow the page, the Cultural Lab podcast on anything on all your favorite social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere your favorite social media platform. We're on there. Also, check out the podcast on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts. Also, check out the replay of this video on YouTube, and also check out the other stuff we do on YouTube. And definitely, man, just stay tuned, man. This has been Couch Coach Live. We'll catch you guys next week.
You're welcome.